The Sports Source is brought to you by Fast Frame. Shadow boxes come with a lifetime guarantee.
You are watching East Tennessee's first and only year-round sports talk show on television. This is The Sports Source with your host, John Pennington.
Hey, good Sunday morning. Welcome into you. Happy to have you with us today as we're going to talk about spring practice. Tennessee football is finally here, back in the news. I think Tennessee fans will be ready to talk some football. We'll talk that. We're going to wrap up some basketball stuff. There's some legal developments this week. We got a lot of stuff to cover. Let's just jump right into today's show. First segment of our program brought to you by our friends at Tennova Healthcare. Already one of the largest healthcare companies in the state, Tennova continues to grow with hospitals and facilities in East, Middle, and West Tennessee. No matter where you go inside this state, Tennova's doctors and caregivers are ready to help you in your time of need. Learn more at Tennova.com. All right, let me introduce the panel to start off today's show. Bob Hodge, freelance contributor to the Knoxville News Sentinel. Mike Strange, contributor to the Knoxville News Sentinel. Jimmy Himes, the host of Juggernaut Show, whose name I just forgot, Sports Talk. It's funny, I almost said my own show. That Juggernaut radio show, The Sports Source. I'm just going to throw that for anything. And then longtime Knoxville sports writer and sports sorcerer, Chuck Cavaliers. Chuck, Jimmy, Mike, Bob. All right. Spring practice starts tomorrow afternoon. Orange and white game is coming up April 16th. It's expected that Tennessee will leave SEC Media Days this year, picked to win the East Division for the first time since 2005. 2005 I find interesting because you go back that far, that's when Tennessee basketball, you just fired Buzz Peterson. There were no real high expectations for what Bruce Pearl would do. You needed football. Football was the king then. Since then, you've had basketball taken on some of the heat when football struggled. But my question is, in terms of the pick, yes, it's an anticipated season, biggest since 2005. But in terms of just needed by the fan base, needing a big season, and you didn't get it in 2005. The expectation was big, but you didn't get it. But in terms of needing something, right now with the lawsuit, all the other crap, can you think of a season when it's been more welcome for spring football to arrive?
Not at all. I mean, for all the reasons you just stated. And plus, here's the reason that it's needed, and I think one of the reasons that fans can look forward to it. Nothing bad's going to happen outside of a serious injury. You're not going to lose a game. You're not going to blow a fourth quarter lead. Yeah. So if nobody gets hurt, everything that comes out of the next 4 or 5 weeks is positive good news. And if it's not, you can spin it as positive good news. So yeah, I think it's needed.
All right. Needed. How necessary is this thing?
Well, it's badly needed for all the reasons you said, and I don't know if everybody's quite so confident something bad came.
Yeah, really.
The way things have been going over
Tennessee,
there. Yeah. Just, but no, this is what everybody's been building towards. Now, I'm not a big spring football. I think it'll be really exciting in August.
Jimmy, your thoughts on?
I think it's hugely important for in a lot of the things you talked about, but I think for Tennessee, look, it's been a long time. Tennessee is right now the longest drought in history without winning an SEC championship. Folks around here are starving to see a team win some ball games. And if you don't believe that, look at the turnout for the last 2 bowl games when Tennessee was a 500 team or a little above a 500 team. I mean, they are ready for Tennessee to explode. It's been a long time, and I think that Tennessee football could be the feel-good story for this upcoming season.
On your Juggernaut radio show, Sports Talk, what was the reaction this way? How much is the focus turning toward football now from the fan base and callers and that kind of thing?
A lot. We're getting more calls about what's the key for the spring, what position changes are there, who's going to be injured. So yeah, they're folks that are ready to turn that page to see what's going to go on with football.
Chuck, as a fan, how important is this just to cleanse the palate, if you will, to take the attention away from all this other negative stuff?
Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's above a 10. You know, because
this goes to 11.
Yeah, it's an 11. I mean, but you look, every time Tennessee's been in the news, it seems like it's been negative. There hasn't really been anything positive. Basketball, ever since the Kevin Punter injury, every time there's an article in the newspaper, there's something on the radio, it's negative. So yeah, it's time to get back out there and start having some feel-good stories.
Because of the off-field stuff, I mean, let's look at it. The expectations are high. Every coach in the country, when the expectations are high and you fail to meet them, there's pressure. But in addition to Butch Jones now having to get over the hump, they went 5 wins, 7 wins, 9 wins. I think there's going to be more pressure than there normally would be, more pressure than they should be, because now you have everyone looking at your program because of the off-field news. I think for Tennessee, the worst thing that could happen is if you let that somehow impact your program. How much pressure do you think is on Butch Jones this year in terms of living up to expectations? Again, fans are starved. Mm-hmm. You got other stuff out there. How important is this year for Butch Jones?
I think some people have commented about how red his face has been lately. I think it's going to, I mean, to me, that's just indicative of the pressure he's under for the bad reasons and for the good reasons.
A lot. I mean, you mentioned the steps that they've taken, and now you've made a change at defensive coordinator. All that's about getting to that next level. Here's the other thing, too. If you look at the East Division, I know there are surprises every year in the league, but when you look at the East, it just doesn't look to be very good. It wasn't that good last year either.
Yeah.
But Missouri's not going to be any good. Vanderbilt's not going to be any good. Georgia's got a new coach in there. Florida, Kentucky's not any good. South Carolina and Florida. Now, and Florida's the one you got to worry about a little bit more probably than most of them. But I think this is a year where Tennessee should clearly be the favorite, and that brings more pressure to Butch Jones and his football team.
And I'm sitting here, John, I'm trying to think of a coach for all of the reasons we've mentioned that would be under more pressure, that's got more to deal with. You know, and can you guys think of anybody? I mean, I can't. That's got more going on the field, off the field, and also being a focal point of an investigation, you know, itself, that he's been the center of these allegations.
Yeah, all told, I think it is him, because I mean, you could look at Les Miles, who basically got a reprieve last year, and if he has a bad year this year, I don't think he's going to get another one. There are going to be guys in the hot seat, but in terms of all the stuff swirling in the national news, and here's the thing: if the defense doesn't take a step forward, he's going to be second guessed robustly for the Bob shoot move, the Jancic to shoot move. Very quickly, I'll let you finish up this segment. Got about a minute here. No, I got you don't get to answer that one. I got a special one for you. Do you think with all this negative stuff going on, we know how teams rally. We know how they use the us against the world. Do you think Butch Jones and this team will take this stuff and turn it into a positive in terms of on the field?
I think they'll definitely try to turn it into a positive off the field. I mean, when you sit there and everybody talks about bulletin board material, sometimes it's real, sometimes it's not, but right now you're being called everything in the book as far as being a lousy university, a lousy program, you're unfair, you're sexist, you're so many different things. So yeah, I think he can turn it around, because let's just assume that so many of these allegations are true in this lawsuit. You still got 90% of the kids over there are good kids, and the coaches are still good people. So yeah, I think they will come together and put their backs against the wall, to use one more cliche, and fight this thing as a team. Now, it might help in the short term, but does it play out helping you in September? I think it helps you get through spring practice.
I was a little long on the minute. I got to work on you at the time. That was good. But I was of the players over there. You mentioned good players. Only one right now is on that team that faces any of these accusations. There's one, and he pled not guilty this week, and that's Alexis Johnson. So we'll talk about that. We'll run through all the legal developments. We'll get that out of the way. We'll talk about that next, and we got hoops to talk about. Then it's back to spring practice. Fill in the blanks. We got some good questions about spring practice. Good show for you today. Come on back on the Sports Source.